Hi, this is Sandra, and I want to look at a final variable and what you need to know for your exam. So firstly, I have a class here, and in it I've declared a member variable and it's final. So one rule about a final variable is once it's given a value, that it can't be reassigned. So you can't change the value that's assigned to it on a separate line of code where you're reassigning it. But another rule is if I have a member variable, so this is a member variable and it's final, there's a rule is that variable has to be given a value before the last line of a constructor completes. So I have two constructors here, and I have a regular method, and I have an init block as well. Now just to make this work, first of all, final variable, and just give it a value 5. Okay, so that will fix it because the variable there has been given a value. Now, just looking at the second constructor, because I have two constructors, there are two ways to create an instance of this class. If I were to create an instance of the class using the second constructor, that constructor doesn't get called and the final variable might have been given a value. So again in here, I can repeat the same code that I have in the first constructor. That will make sure that the final variable is given a value, or instead of that, I could make a call to the other constructor. So this calls the constructor in the same class, no parameters, that will call it. That makes sure that that final member variable has been given a value by the time one of those constructor completes. Just to prove there you can't reassign a final variable, final member variable equals 10. And that won't compile because a final variable cannot be reinitialized or given another value, so that doesn't work. Now, just this init block that I have here. Firstly, the purpose of the constructor is to set up this object in memory. It will set up any member variables, assign memory for them, give them a default value, but not in this example, it has to be given a value. And the init block, so it's just curly brackets, you can use it for initializing variables, that will execute before the constructors do. So I'm going to remove any code from the constructors to just show you that I could initialize that final variable inside here, because that init block will execute and complete before any code in the constructors. So that is it. A final member variable must be initialized before the constructors complete. If I have two constructors, make sure that it's initialized in both. Or if you have an init block, there's no reason for, they're not used that much, but if you do see it in the exam, make sure that the final variable is given a value in there. And make sure you don't have code that reassigns the final variable, because that's not allowed either. And now I can use the class, I can create an instance of it. This is just a little bit extra here, f equals new final variable, and now f dot, I could call the method inside it. Okay, so that's just a little bit there on final variables.